Hello, everyone. My name is Marion with DTM Real Talk Channel. It's the channel that you can tune into, have the ability to listen to the thoughts of others about topics all over the world that touch every one of our lives. Everybody goes through basically the same thing. There is nothing new under the sun. So if you're going through, someone else has already been there. Maybe you can find hope. Maybe it's a pathway that can set you on the right road just by tuning in. So DTM Real Talk, just keeping it real. And if you like it, like us at the bottom, subscribe, and let us know just how we helped you. Just keeping it real. Nothing but love. Good evening. This is DTM Real Talk. And yes, we're super excited because we want to hear what happened. They were about to get divorced. So y'all say hi to the people. It's another week.
People.
Hello. Awesome. So you guys were talking about how you met and how you were adjusting with the children and how you made it through, but suddenly, let's talk about that. So what would you say would spark the divorce? The beginning of thinking about a divorce, I'm sorry.
Well, we had gone on a cruise.
Okay.
And while we were away, we left our sister to, man the house and the children. Uh-huh. And something took place there, with the children and my sister, whatever. And when we came back, while we're away on the cruise, I'm thinking everything hunky dory. But when we come back, he's at that time, I would say, he wasn't the best communicator when things would bother him. Mm-hmm. And
Bubbles.
Yes. Okay. And he would tell me, give him his space, and I would give him his space, but he would never come back to me and want to talk about it, Okay. So this particular situation that went down with the children back at home while we're away from home, we're away from home, and I'm gonna get it out of him. I'm gonna get it out of him. So I'm just.
You're gonna nag him to death till you get it out.
So he blew up. I'm
listening to the men out there that saying, I want to blow up too. She's nagging me.
He blew up and we brought it back home.
Okay.
And he told me, he said, you have a decision to make. Either you're going to, in so many words, this is the way I interpreted it. Either you're going to buckle under the decision of what I said, or that's it. That's how I took it. Now, that's not what he said, but that's how I took it.
So, Bubbles, what did you say? Do you recall what you said?
Well, let me start by saying this. I've always been, ever since my first marriage, I've been a no-nonsense kind of guy.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is that literally, I just flat out refuse to play games.
Okay.
I'm real adamant. I mean what I say what I mean. And I'm not ever going to play any games. So when it got to the point to where we felt like, we constantly going back and forth about this. So my philosophy on life has always been, what are you willing to live with? Period. There is no if and whats and buts about it. So, wow. and what I meant by that, by saying to her was that, what we're going through now, so it's going to be we're either going to do this or we're not. I'm not going to be halfway in. I'm not going to halfway do it. If you can't see me for who I am and the things that I do, if you can't trust what I've already put out there, then we got a decision to make, and that decision is going to be, we either gonna carry on or we just gonna, you know,
Question.
just say, okay, we gave it a shot. It's not for us. It's not about me being mad or upset to the point where I never want to speak to you again. It wasn't about that. It was just about every person has convictions, and my convictions are simply this: what are you willing to live with?
Wow, that's deep.
You can't say it and then say but.
Right.
He went to a men's conference and
So
Say what now?
he went to a men's conference and got a whooping.
Okay. So I guess you're saying some things you learned at the men's conference, you applied it to yourself. Is that what you're saying?
well, you just like anything else, that you can walk past mirrors all day,
Okay.
but if you never stop and look in the mirror and be honest, then what you see is always going to be your perception, not what not what you actually know. Is what you see. You can pass by a mirror, oh, and see one thing, but that's really not the case until you stand there and you look in that mirror
And face it. Yeah.
you have to face it.
And what I see a lot of is, even in my marriage, formerly married, is that, when looking at yourself, you have to learn to own your stuff.
Yes.
Nobody is the reason for anything. We all have choices. We all are a product of our environment. However, we have the ability to change it. So if you didn't change it or fix it, whose fault is that?
Funny you should say that. How you said we are a product of our environment. I've always grown up, and I'm the baby of 4 siblings. And the way we were raised by my mother, if there was a problem or an issue, mama would pick up the Bible. Mama would pull us together in prayer. That scripture, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days shall be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. We had to quote that, and mama would simply ask us, do you want to live a long life or do you want to live a short life? And I'll never forget it. We were going through one of our normal family dynamics, and I was walking down the hallway to put a coat in the closet. And the Lord said, okay, it works for you as a child, so why won't it work for you as an adult with your own family? And having prayer in our home. We did. We began having prayer in our home, and that's when I saw the change started to come.
It works.
It does.
Awesome. Yeah, and it all boils down to you had the ability to change it, so y'all chose to change it.
Yes.
I was talking to my son, one of them, I have 5. I was talking to one of them yesterday, and just yesterday. And I said, son, my parents made a lot of mistakes, but my parents did a lot of good, put a lot of good in me. Now, my parents wanted me to be better than them. And here it is.
Yes.
I have made a lot of mistakes, made a lot of bad choices, a lot of bad decisions, but I want you to do better than me. I want you to be better than me. Your children, you should want them to do better than you.
Yes.
And the thing is, it's called growth. It's evolving, and we change, we grow. If you are the same as you were 10 years ago, we got a problem, Houston. So I applaud you, number one, Bubbles. I applaud you. I wanted to tell you last week, I wanted to applaud you. First of all, thank you for serving our country. Secondly, today, I don't know what went on in your first marriage, but you cared, even though that marriage split up and broke up. You sought after your child. You stuck to your child. You reached down and you reached out. It didn't matter what happened with that woman, their mother, you went after your child. So I applaud you for that. I do.
That, seriously, honestly, that was one of the things that attracted me to him.
Of course.
I saw him as a single father, and I saw how, when we first started communicating on the phone, first thing he ever told me was, if my daughter can't go, I can't go. And a lot of our, dating she took as an opportunity to hang out with her friends because she would come along and invite a bunch of her friends along. People actually thought we were afraid to go out alone. But it wasn't that we were afraid to go out alone. I understood he had a daughter.
Right. And he loved his daughter.
Exactly.
And I applaud you, cousin, for respecting that in him. Okay, so these challenges, and he laid it down for you. He laid it on the line. I'm a no nonsense guy. This is what I do. So you had to make a decision. But he laid that out to you. He communicated that to you. He didn't ball up and don't say nothing. And you don't know what's going on. That's what most men do,
True.
Don't say, am I right about that, Bubbles?
Right.
All right, tell me if I'm wrong. I tell people all the time, tell me if I'm wrong. I've been on this road a long time, and I'm a better person today than I was 20 years ago. Okay.
I think that men just have a way of doing things, in a sense of that, we not so readily available to just put it out there. We almost have to have a reason to put it out there.
Right.
So in other words,
a reason that was worth something for you to fight.
It has to get to a point.
Yes.
It can't just come up. It has to come up, then it has to get to a point.
Yes.
And then once it gets to a point, we become very vocal.
Very good, very good. Okay, so you decided to do what, T?
I went for a Lord, and I decided that I was going to, hang in there. I saw him putting forth the effort. So I said, I would continue to put forth the effort.
Awesome.
And like I said, we began the family prayer in the home. And this is what now that I look back on it, we didn't start this thing just the two of us. When we got married, his youngest daughter was a part of our ceremony. We brought her in as part of the ceremony. And when that decision was made, we brought her in on that decision making. We would have family meetings, we'd have family prayer. And at that time, it was just, okay, we didn't start this thing, just the two of us.
Right.
So she has to be brought, and I thank God for now. Her and our relationship is so good. Oh my gosh.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Sometimes she'll call me when she have problem things. She'll call me before she, or she'll text me rather before she call her daddy.
Awesome. That's what building takes. It takes building struggles. It takes obstacles.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's
absolutely, true. Absolutely. Now I have a question.
Sure.
I'm a very observant individual. I observe, I discern, and what I notice when I'm around you guys is that, Bubbles, you are a servant if I ever seen one. Talk about that. Why? I'm just going to ask this question. I know it might sound dumb to those out there, but I want to know why are you always serving? This man, I seen him. He washed the dishes. He bring her food. He doing this. He doing that. Stay there. He going to the grocery, coming back. He going to get the medicine. After he gets home from work, it's never, well, I'm too tired, even though he's tired. I know he's tired. I'm too tired, or I got to go to sleep. It's never like that. Why?
Well, excuse me. Before you said that, I'm glad someone else observes that and saw that in him, because I see, and I can say that about him all the time, all I want. But for someone else to notice that in him is, awesome.
Wow.
In my family, I have a very large and a very close, tight-knit family. And I'm only son, only nephew, and the only grandson. Okay. So I literally was raised around a bunch of women, and my mama always taught me when I was growing up, you have things that you have to do. And regardless of whatever happens, you have to know how to be independent. So when my mama went to work that night, at night she worked most of the nights and got up around junior high school, stuff like that. She did work a lot at night. So when she come home, when she come home in the morning, we were pretty much, I had one sister, and we was pretty much on our way to school, right? So when we got home, there were things that we had to do. We had to finish the dinner. We had to make sure that her house was clean, kitchen was clean. You don't go to bed with a dirty kitchen and all that stuff. And then as I got older, my grandfather, we lived in Kenner. He drove every morning from Kenner to A Meet to work. He come home from A Meet. He's home about 30 minutes. He goes up to the place where he cleaned the office at night. He cleaned that office, and then on Saturdays, I had to go cut grass with him all day. And Sundays, he went to church. Well, my grandmother, when he got home, he made sure that the car was in the right position. He made sure that the car was gassed up. If she had to get something from the store, he got that. He did that. And by the same token, my grandfather never bought a pair of socks or a pair of drawers for himself because my grandmother saw to it that was done for him.
Wow.
And as a teenager, I was jealous of my grandfather because I wanted to dress like him. That's how well taken care of he was. And when we would get together every Sunday after church, which when we was around my grandma's house every Sunday after church, you got all these adults there, and they knew that the children, y'all go in the garage or whatever, right, while the adults in here. But when a guest came to the house, and not only a guest, but my grandfather would never have to get up and fix his own plate. My grandmother never had to do that. Now, my mother and my aunt, who are grown women, I watched them. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Get their stuff. They never had to ask for it. It was always done. And that is sort of something I grew up seeing. And when I saw my grandfather doing it, it just became like, this is how
this is what you're supposed to do. Yeah.
This is how, and I tell people this all the time. My grandfather and I never had a conversation about that. We never talked about that. All I had to do was watch. I'm in his presence and I see it. And he'll tell you in a minute, y'all ain't gonna work my wife. And he made sure that any and everything for her was taken care of. Wow. It was done. She didn't have to worry about that. And he didn't have to worry about anything other than, he could be out there cutting grass and this lawnmower go to acting crazy. Before he'll do anything, he'll call her, maybe this was going on. She had to tell him, either go put it in the shop or go buy you another lawnmower, And this man, they were married for 30 some odd years. And this is my step grandfather now.
Wow.
They were married for 30 some years. He never cashed a single check. He come home, he wouldn't even sign his check till he got home. Okay? Till he got home and he signed the check. My grandmother got everything together for him. Saturday morning, when he go cut grass, he did deposit all the money and all that kind of stuff. And she took care of the house as far as that went. And I'm gonna tell you, and she was actually she was a maid, sort of, kind of cleaned up apartments, right? They never wanted for anything. Every 2 years, he went and bought her a brand new car. Every 2 years, and she didn't have. All she had to do was drive it.
Right.
Period.
Right.
So that's what.
So you sure mimicked him very well.
And I can attest to that because I knew his mom, his aunt, his grandmother, and his grandfather before I even knew he existed.
Wow. Oh, that's right, huh? Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I knew all of his family and didn't even know he existed.
Okay. Well, I have a question for you now, T.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're 15, is it 14? 14 years. 14 years married on day before yesterday. Would you say you've made it to the perfect marriage? Or
no. No.
Okay. And second question is, why not?
No, we haven't made it to the perfect marriage. One, because I'm just being real. There's no such thing as a perfect marriage, you know. But we are still learning and growing with each other because as we get older, we change.
Right.
So even in those changes, we have to learn those changes and those dynamics about each other because it's a constant cycle. If we reach perfection, there's no more growth.
All right.
You know, when you reach perfection, there's no more growth. So we're constantly growing and learning about each other, you know, every day. We are constantly learning how to communicate. You know, because every time we think we've made it to a point to where, oh, we got this, we good, the Lord shows where we not.
Yeah, yeah.
You remind us.
So, Bubbles, I'm gonna just say, address marriages out there today. Address them about fighting for your marriage. Address that.
Well, for me, you have to understand that it's a partnership in a sense of that, you know, it takes two to tango, so to speak. You know, it takes two to tango. So in that, you have to, when the trials and tribulations come up, the one thing that you have to lean on is that you have to trust the love. You married this person for a reason.
Right.
And if you truly love that person, then you understand that regardless to what happens in that moment, you have this whole thing of love to fall back on. It's kind of like saying, well, and I equate it to sports. You playing baseball, it's your turn up to hit. So you go up to hit the first 5 times, boom, you hit home run every time. Okay, so you go up to 6 times, you strike out. The next time, you don't get on base. So now what? Should you be frustrated? Or should you relish in the fact that I know I can do this? I've done it before. I can do this, right? So when you go up the next time, you go up with the mindset of I'm going to trust what I did before. So in other words, when something comes up, you have to go back and trust what it is that you believed in before. And with the love, if you trust the love, you're always going to be able to see your way through that maze. You're always going to be able to find a way out in that maze. Always.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah. I'm just like, oh. Well, folks, I hope you heard my cousins, and I hope you got something out of it. I hope you want to fight for your marriage. I hope that you understand that struggles are imminent. I hope that you understand that communication is the key. I hope you understand that. And not only understand it, but apply it and live a better marriage. Enjoy the rest of your evening, because we're DTM and we're just doing what?
Real talk.
Isn't it real? Enjoy your evening.
Thanks for watching DTM Real Talk. Be sure to join us for more conversation. And oh yeah, don't forget to hit that like button, share, and subscribe while you're there.